What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Tenet video. We will be discussing the top questions and mysteries from the new mind-bending Christopher Nolan movie, which was a full frontal attack on our senses. It was incredibly cerebral and provided a lot of questions in the car on the way home. This is by no means a definitive list, and if you have more comments and ideas, let me know down in the comments, and I may even make a part 2 for this video. But there will be spoilers in this video, so please do click off if you have not seen the movie and do not want to be spoiled. And this is indeed your last warning. Now, starting at number 1, and it is the biggest one in my opinion, with nearly every comment on my videos being about the possibility that Neil, played by Robert Pattinson, is actually Max himself, Kat and Sator's son in the movie. Many of you have said how Max's full name is Maximilian, and if you look at it backwards, it starts with Neil. The movie, of course, explores the possibility of reversing things and as well moving on to greater things such as palindromes, and this could be a big one, but we're not just going to go on that alone. Robert Pattinson famously has fabulous hair, but it's actually darker than his movie's character, and he dyed it blonde for this movie, meaning his character has actually disguised himself with a new name and also a different hairstyle. He is barely seen, if at all, around Max, which is curious as Kat is featured heavily in the movie. Ives did say that you want to avoid your past self, and the only time you want to see him is when you see them go in the other room in the Maxwell's Demons device. Another feather in the cap for this theory. Neil is also very well educated, has great degrees in physics, something his mother also took great pains to impress the importance of to her husband, and he also has an expensive private school education, as we saw in this movie. Neil also took special interest in making sure that Kat survived when she was actually shot by an inverted bullet, and indulged the protagonist's mad schemes to actually help her survive by taking her back to the Freeport inversion machine. The protagonist finds out that he has known Neil for years, and I expect the grandfather paradox here to once again be a big thing. Now, here is my wacky idea. The protagonist would actually find out that he may never meet someone called Neil because this person is called Max, and the person he meets in the past, he actually needs to recruit someone to go back in time and do exactly as he says. And of course, this would lead to the never-ending circle of time. The chicken or the egg, huh? Nolan even said his name may be Neil, and we also know that he knew the exact date that Kat, Sator and Max went to Vietnam without even being prompted. Now, in at number 2, many of you mentioned that why is an inverted bullet so much worse than a normal bullet? Well, this is just a simple explanation here. Well, if you think of a normal bullet firing forward into a body and hopefully it has an exit wound to obviously avoid infection, the inverted bullet is the opposite and is reversing. Now, when it is reversing, it has the flat end of the bullet flying backwards, which would mean you'd cause some major internal damage and make a bullet wound you may not actually survive. Of course, the bullet casing and all the other parts of it are actually reversing back onto it as well, so it's all round a horrible experience. It's a simple one there for you, but if you have any ideas to why an inverted bullet is so much worse, I'd absolutely love to hear them down in the comments. Now, number 3 is, why do they actually need to wear gas masks? I have to say, I felt very apt going to the cinema wearing a mask when the main characters also need to actually wear masks. However, when a character is inverted, the need to wear a mask and oxygen supply is needed. This is because the air we breathe has oxygen, which is of course needed to survive, and then converted into carbon dioxide by ourselves. But if you are inverted, then this is actually the reverse, meaning it would be difficult to be inverted without a mask and supply of correct air for yourself. Now, number 4, this is a bit of a hit blunt thinks moment. Now, why is Tenet actually called Tenet? Well, besides the Sator Rotas square references I actually mentioned in my previous video, which you can go and check out on my channel, there is actually a deeper connection. Now, we know that the team will be found in the future by people who want to stop the eco-terrorists from blowing up the past to reverse climate change, and Neil is actually recruited by the protagonist in the future. And again, it's a chicken and egg situation. What came first, Tenet or the protagonist creating Tenet? Now, this may sound very, very stupid, but let's look at the final battle. They have a 10-minute time limit in the battle, and there are also two teams, one inverted and one regular, assaulting Sator's home city. That makes 10 and 10. Tenet back and forth. Yes, this would have given the protagonist the idea, and also he then got many other ideas from the past, such as we live in a Twilight world, taken from himself. Yes, Sator actually came up with that, and the hand gesture was created by Neil when he mentioned what the plan of the future was of two time streams coming together. And lastly, number 5 is one I've seen mentioned on Reddit a lot, and it's just what the hell happened in the battle and why were there two teams of people? Well, actually, we see the reason for this, and it's set up very early on in the highway scene. Sator is in the machine, ready to be inverted, as Neil and the protagonist actually go and steal what they think is plutonium. Now, of course, Sator knows everything. He knows everything that's going to happen at all times. However, Sator's team actually fill him in on the radio of what happens, so when it's all completed, he can then go back and do the opposite, and this eliminates the randomness of the entropy. That is what this is. Entropy is eliminating the randomness of everything, so you know exactly what will happen. Very, very clever there, Mr. Nolan. Now, this is the same for the movie, as one team goes into the battle and one can actually brief the other on what happened. So we have one team who are inverted, one who are normal, and the battle happens at the same time. So we have the people going in as normal, they then come back out, brief another team to go back in who are inverted, and they can actually fix everything because they know what is going to happen. That's why the building is actually blown up twice that we saw, and one rocket goes to, well, at least shoots the wrong part of it, and the other actually corrects it. So just like the whole movie, we have a temporal pincer movement here, and the whole movie is a temporal pincer movement, with Neil going back in time, technically, and the protagonist going forward in time. Absolute just genius. I love this movie to bits. But that's it for this video. Please do drop a like down below if you enjoyed it. Please do comment what you want me to dissect as well next in my next Tenet video. And please do subscribe with notifications on. And I'll see you soon, and goodbye.